council meeting Monday, March the 18th. Mr. City Manager, can you call the roll?
Mr. Scott?
Yes. Here.
Ms. Underwood?
Here.
Mr. Exley?
Here.
Mr. Blackwell?
Here.
Ms. Taylor?
Here.
Ms. Riley?
Here.
Mr. Scott, can you do the invocation, please?
Heavenly Father, we come thank you, giving our heart, thank you for guiding us and keeping us through this day. Thank you for leading and guiding us to this appointed place. Lord, we ask that the decisions that we make this afternoon be for the citizen, not just today, but all generations to come. Ask and pray that you continue to guide this council, guide the staff, and bless the city and all its citizens. Give us a blessing, we ask in your holy name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sir? First order of business, approve the agenda, but I think we have one change on the agenda. We're adding the approval of the rate changes for the Lincoln Golf Course.
So is that,
That'd be item number 3.
That'll be item number 3.
So you need a motion to add item number 3 to the agenda.
second?
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Motion to approve, Mr. Scott, second. Ms. Taylor? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. All right, and then we'll need a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve. Second.
Ms. Riley, motion, Ms. Underwood, second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We are going to, have a presentation. I'm gonna bring Ms. Lewis up. I'll have a presentation by Inspire on the, UDO. Ms. Lewis, if you wanna come up and introduce the team.
Sure, I'm going to introduce Sarah Sinatra with Inspire, and then she will go ahead and introduce her team and give y'all an update on where we are with the Unified Development Ordinance.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. My name is Sarah Sinatra. I'm with Inspire, and joining me is Jessica Hayes and Robbie Addington. They're on our team, and we've got a whole host of people that are working on the project along with Terry and her staff. We have a brief presentation, and then I have a handful of questions. They're more guiding questions. You don't have to really answer those specifically, but just to kind of spark some discussion on the UDO and your use of the UDO and so forth. Terry, am I able to show that?
She's sending us. She's pulling it
Okay,
up.
perfect. And my team's gonna be taking some notes and hearing what y'all have, any concerns about, or ways we can try to refine the code. We've already been hearing a lot, and it was good to have some initial feedback from the public. And then I will point out, probably later on also, but I just wanna mention, just so that it's in the record, that we do have a website, that you can get to it through the city's website. We also have cards that have a QR code and the website. We'd love to hear from folks. You could share that in any of your networks.
And Sarah, I'm going to interrupt you. It's also the second item when you open up their Citizen Connect app. So it's on our app for anybody to be able to go click and go straight to their website. So sorry to interrupt you.
No, that's great, because we just want to get it out there, and it has a survey, it has some information on there. You can go to the next slide. So what are we doing? We're updating an ordinance because often they're either out of date, they no longer represent the city's values or changes that have happened over time. We're going to be doing that by going through the existing code, which we have done, and do a reorganization. We like to go and find out where there's conflicts. We've met with a number of your staff. We're going to be meeting further with the building department. We just met tonight with code enforcement. And of course, Terry and her staff have been great kind of guiding through this and telling us, as the true users of the code, where are the challenges, where are the issues, where are things that have come up that we can make it a more user-friendly document. And that's for many reasons. Obviously for the staff and for the council being able to interpret and move forward, and for the planning board looking at applications. But it's also for the public to understand, what is the city looking for if they're coming in with a business. It should be really a predictable document, and so that really helps become a business-friendly environment as well. And the idea is that the UDO will help strengthen the type of development that you do want to see within the city. So we're going to streamline, standardize the development approval process. I have a question for y'all on that in a little bit. We want to have some modifications to the landscape requirements. Some opportunities for administrative review of applications, and then really talk about housing type as well. And we heard some of that tonight, and so I'll share some of the initial feedback we received. So through the public engagement steps, we're doing 2 stakeholder meetings. We had one already. We're having another stakeholder group. That's really just like more of a focus group who gives us some initial feedback on the inner users of the code. So they'll give us more feedback on that. We're having another one towards the end of April. We have the survey, we have an interactive map, and then obviously the open house that we're having. So just to let you know a little bit about the stakeholders. The idea is that it's from a high level, and they're real users of the code. So it could be engineers, architects, industry professionals, people in the development community that have applied the code, have used it, and can tell us what they feel about how it functions. Through the online engagement, since I think y'all have gone there, we don't have to kind of go through that link, but I just wanted you to know how to go through it. It's an opportunity for the residents to give us feedback. We're going to make sure that it has all the information from this event. We'll have pictures, we'll have different initial feedback on there as well. And when we start moving forward with different chapters of the ordinance, we'll be able to post that on there so the public can have a good feel of what's going on. So like I mentioned, we had our first stakeholders meeting on February 7th. In that, there was the initial feedback we received. This is some of the feedback, because it was quite a bit. They want more predictability in the ordinance. And that's something that we always try to strive for, is that everybody should be able to understand what really it's like a level playing field, what the expectation is. A lot of times when you hear like that, if a city has an ordinance that's stringent ordinance, people aren't complaining that it's a stringent ordinance. They want to know like the groundwork. They want to know the rules of the game. So they'll be able to have, hopefully the city, this ordinance will have a more predictable ordinance. We want to get rid of any kind of conflicts in the code, and we've been hearing that there's conflicts in different sections. They talked about potential for a payment in lieu option for trees. What that basically means that if the site is constrained, doesn't have the ability to place all the trees, or it doesn't, a lot of times we want to see is, a wonderful canopy, but it might not be for the health of the tree. It might be too crowded. So there could be an opportunity for them to pay into a fund where those monies could be used elsewhere to plant trees in a more appropriate place throughout the city, to really encourage a good canopy, and the fact that the trees would be in a healthier position. Something that we heard was that a lot of the industrial sites were overparked, that there was too much parking, too much pavement area. So, really think that through. Offering a sliding scale for buffer and berm requirements. Basically what this means is having a larger industrial buffer, and if you have a berm, so if it's a landscape berm, which doesn't mean just a mound, it basically has to have a landscaping, that there can be reductions in the width based on the height. So it gives some real flexibility and some real buffering and concealing of those sites from a landscape perspective. They also suggested connectivity between parcels, really thinking this could help with traffic flow. And they actually brought up, and I didn't hear this all tonight, I didn't hear this before, but they brought up Carolina, Georgia, Ave, and Ninth for a potential downtown and a historic district. So that's what that group had mentioned. So what we heard a little bit tonight, I was just gonna mention just in the open house, what we heard a little bit tonight was, what I found really interesting was a lot of talk about a downtown and a mixed use, a real, new mixed use type of environment where it would have housing component and a range of housings, different types of housing, where it would have a green space, where it would have, restaurants and like a real livable environment. And it was brought up a lot, a couple times, about the potential of Freedom Park and having an opportunity for that. So it is something that we will be looking at. And I was just mentioning to Terry, to be able to, part of our scope was really to be looking at, is there an opportunity to create a new category, create a new zoning district that would encourage the right type of development in a certain area. So we just heard about that tonight, so we're gonna be looking into that, and hopefully we can do something, creative and that the city will be happy with, as that is a location. That was the one location that we kept hearing about. We can go to the next one. So I just wanted to let you know the status of where we are right now. And we're actually a little bit ahead of where, a little bit ahead of schedule, but that's not always a lot of times we go back and forth a lot. So we've drafted chapters 1, 2, 3, 4, and 7. And the reason 7 is because we're trying to advance the landscape chapter. We felt, and Terry mentioned that, that was so critical and such a crucial piece that we felt that, let's move that forward first. So that chapter's actually completed, and I believe the planning board will be reviewing that soon, right? I wasn't sure the exact date, but that's coming before you shortly, and then to the council. And then the other, we've already, like I said, drafted for the other chapters, and we're working through chapter 9 right now as well, but need a lot of feedback from the building department on that. So I just talked to the building official about, meeting on that and seeing how we could really work that one through, because that's going to need a lot of attention. So we're really going through all these and identifying where the challenges are. We're doing them in a strike through and underline fashion so that you'll be able to see all the edits and the changes, but then of course have a clean version to work out of as well. Okay, and what I really wanted to talk and hear from you all is the opportunities and challenges you find with the UDO. So if you just go to the next slide, these questions, like I said, are just thoughts about the city's review process. Should more items be done administratively? What kind of development should be encouraged or prohibited? What kind of housing style should be encouraged? Are there interest in the use of overlays for a specific area? Are there new or modified uses that should be encouraged or addressed? And should there be uses or industries that could be further regulated or removed? Any thoughts on development standards like parking, signage, setbacks? That was a lot. So if there's anything that you all as seeing applications, people talking to you about projects, potential projects, and have seen challenges, or they're not able to do what they want, or you want to make more regulations, this is kind of a good opportunity for all of us to hear what your constraints, what your challenges are, and so we could take that and kind of craft what we need to in the code.
So you want our suggestions now?
If you want to talk about it as a group.
Yeah.
And so, we talked about this, if you guys, I know it's hard to be put on the spot. If you guys have things you wanna see after this meeting about these questions, send them to Terry, and Terry
Yeah.
will make sure that they get to Sarah and their team to get addressed. I know it's a lot to be thrown at once, but if you have them afterwards, just send them to Terry and we'll get them to Sarah. So.
And that's fine. It's just if you had something that you wanted to discuss, I wanted to obviously make sure that y'all had the opportunity while I was here to hear from you. But those are things, and we're hoping to get a lot of feedback, through email as well. So if there's anything, of course, through Terry.
Well, I know that Ms. Riley has really talked about, housing for, teachers and single parents and things like that. And, that's gonna be real important, because I think we have a lot of different groups out there, a lot of different needs. So we're gonna have to start seeing different style of housing.
Can I add, I know that Habitat has been struggling with building in Lincoln. They have quite a few parcels. Affordable housing would be very helpful to review that ordinance, because the houses that Habitat builds, it's like wanna say it's like 150 or 200 square feet smaller than what the city allows. And so that's why they have not been able to build in Rankin, because they have set, you know, housing that they build for their homeowners. And so that would be helpful to look at that.
So we're missing that based off of square footage.
Yep,
And
They're not able to build.
correct.
May
And
I
they have
ask, is
several
that for-
parcels that they could build on.
Is that for single family?
Yes.
Okay, that's good to know, thank you.
I think they even had some land, some properties that it could be available for that because the
They
size of
absolutely-
the lots and
Yeah, we
the
really need to
setback.
look at that.
They absolutely would.
Setback.
What's the minimum square feet? Terry, what's the minimum square feet?
I think in the district that we're talking about in R4, it's either 1,400 or 1,500 square feet.
Yeah, it's
So-
1450, and the Habitat's houses are like 1380, I think. Yeah, I think it's 1380 is what Habitat's. So that's the part that they struggle with.
She just, Siri heard that and was gonna help us.
What did you say the size was?
Habitats, I think it's 1380 is what theirs are, and I think ours is like 1400.
Where's the district
That's pretty close.
that they own it?
It's really close.
That's
It's
close.
really
So,
Not to have it.
I think the draft of what they put together, and I was just asking Terry, I think we're already trying to come down in the district to about that 1250 range
Yeah.
to accommodate those smaller single family homes.
Yeah, cause I was thinking 1,200.
And if you need background, I'll be happy to put you in touch with the person.
So we
have lots of homes that are smaller than that.
And that's something that
In the
we're
county.
definitely addressing, yeah.
You can't tell me those houses on Ninth Street are 15.
But those were probably built before the
Yeah, they
ordinance.
were built
Probably
Grandfather.
before the ordinance.
Grandfather.
Yeah, they were built before the
Grandfather.
ordinance.
An acre of land and it's only 1,000 square feet.
In Lexington, a 900 square foot
Lexington,
house
yeah.
sold for over 200,000.
Just for quick background, they were, I guess, years ago, this is what Jimmy told me, that years ago, they were trying to build, and there's a big, some tiny homes issue, I guess, in this area, and so they put that ordinance in, cause they didn't want a whole bunch of tiny homes being put up, and that just blocked Habitat from being able to build in Rankin.
So in where we are today, in our economy today, if I'm a school teacher, and I'm just by myself, I can't buy a home in Lincoln.
That is correct.
And we have to accommodate for that.
We have
have
city-
to have small
We have
houses.
city employees that can't afford to buy a home.
Exactly. Our nurses, our
Yeah,
school
we got-
teachers, our
we got
police
all
officers,
over.
our
We
fire
got
department,
in
they
the
cannot
medical
buy a
field.
home in our city.
Frontline
It's
staff,
unacceptable.
medical field, all that, you got them all over the place, from each
So I know
generation.
8 or 9 years ago, Habitat built a house in Governor's Ridge.
I wasn't here, so I really don't.
We helped them clear the lot, First Baptist did, so when I went over there and worked, so.
But they build houses here, so just so they just built one, they got one less than 5, 6 years old on Main Street.
And they may have built a different floor plan.
The
Well,
commission-
keep in mind too, with Governor's Ridge, that's probably M6, which is a different zoning district, and because of that, the minimum size requirements are gonna be less, because you are talking about, mobile homes.
Yeah, we'll make sure to get that addressed. in the
Yeah.
draft.
And that berm requirement is good too, in the way that you explained it, you know, narrowing it up, going higher, changes that, that's good.
I would like to see us, so right now with our sign ordinance, I know there's not a lot of rules. We can just put up whatever we want, with the exception of what, I can't have the word bar on my sign, right? That's
We
a
can't
big-
read a sign. That's illegal to read
Yeah.
a sign and see what's on it. We can only regulate type and size, actually, and location. We can't read, if you have to read a sign to see what's on it, you're violating freedom of speech. So we're not allowed to do that.
Well, they were very strict on us when we did our sign and where we placed it.
Now, placement, size, and type of sign can be regulated, language on the sign cannot be regulated.
So I will say, I understand 4 years ago, different people were here, however, the city of Rankin absolutely read a sign. Cause they read mine, cause I renamed my restaurant.
So there.
I would say to revisit that if you would like, because I don't believe that's legal.
There.
I don't believe
It
that's
doesn't
legal.
matter,
Yeah.
that's irrelevant, whatever, that was 4 years ago.
But no, she's making a good point.
The
Yeah.
biggest thing is, when we built our office, we had to have this elaborate landscaping plan. And the restaurants around us look pathetic. So that is a big thing with me. We need to get these places to landscape their properties. to make the city look
Yeah,
better.
especially new business coming
And,
in.
and I think that the biggest problem is I don't know, how can we regulate an existing business or anything?
So,
You can't.
Well,
what,
you do that through
So this,
your officer.
this that's coming in is gonna help with all new construction, but you can't come to me as a business
Right.
owner and say,
Right.
hey, we put a new law in, now you have to go change what you've done. You
well,
can't
that,
do
we can, that's the 50% rule that will be in here. If you have to do a replacement and it's more than 50% of the value of the sign or anything structure, it has to be brought up to current code at that,
Oh, yeah.
at that time.
I'm saying you can't come to me and tell me my landscaping looks,
Right.
No,
if
but
I'm
we
within
could
current code.
That's
suggest
correct, that's
that
correct.
you
Right.
pretty
That's
it
right.
up.
Okay, so is that 50% rule the same for houses?
Yes,
If they flip a house and spend more than 50%?
yeah.
mhm,
Okay.
that's correct.
I would like to touch base on the housing. What I'm hearing in the community is senior citizen housing. I don't know that we have a whole lot of it in the community. There's a few that come off the top of my head, and I know some people, like bus drivers that live in those. So senior citizen housing would be a thing to take a look at as well, I feel.
Can you clarify, do you mean like an assisted living type of facility, or are you
You want
talking?
an over 65?
Or like an over, like
Maybe
a
a-
Yeah.
restricted,
So
like
over
an age
on,
restricted?
Willow Peg, there's a senior housing community.
Mm-hmm.
And you're, based on your level of income, you receive, government assistance, things like that. There's people in Lost Plantation that they live in this 3,000 square foot home, and it's just too big of a house, but they have no place to go. And they
So like
would
an age
love-
restricted?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they would love to be able to move into a place and not have to take care of anything and have a little, bungalow or whatever the case is to be able to
I know
live
that
life.
There's two senior places right now that I know of in our area. One's over there behind Planet Fitness.
Mhm.
And there's like a 1 or 2 year, as a matter of fact, the bus driver he's talking about could never even get the woman to answer the phone, because she said they've got such a long waiting list, she's never in the office. And then Willow Peg, because she's on a fixed income, and that's income based, it took her forever to get in there, because there's only so many of them, so, there's a need for senior citizens too, so.
I think that, from our end, from the staff side, we would address that as a multifamily, complex, and then hopefully we can find a developer that would come in and take advantage of the low-income housing tax credit programs. Because that's how they're able to build them at such a cost where they can do those rents for seniors. So we can make a purposeful effort to move in that direction if that's what we decide going through this process.
Any more questions? I got any questions for Sarah? Anything else you want to discuss?
There's gonna be a lot of reading coming up in the next couple of weeks for you guys, so just, yeah.
But as you continue this process, it'd be really great to filter any, additional thoughts you have over to Terry, and we're talking weekly on all these items, so it'd be great.
So, and just so you guys know, and Sarah, they've done a great job. The first 2 sections that you guys and the planning and zoning board will take a look at to go ahead and get adopted will be the landscape regulations, the tree ordinance.
And that's
as-
what's here, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and then once we get a review, the development regulations will go into effect. I don't think we're gonna do the definitions at the same time.
We haven't gotten
Okay,
that far yet.
so at least the development regulations and what you have in front of you will be the first to go before both respective boards to go ahead and get adopted, so that all this new development that's coming in will at least go ahead and be held to those standards, and we're not waiting until December or January to do that when 19 other developments have already gotten in. So we're trying to speed that up as much as possible, and Inspire, their team has done a great job of pushing those areas forward first for us.
I'm gonna ask the question, since I just got handed this, I haven't had a chance to read it. Is the legacy tree issue in here?
It's not right now, but I've also, asked a couple other people to take a look at it and give us some input on it. So that we can consider not just that, but, whether we need some kind of additional tree protection. And yes, the idea wasn't so that y'all would review this tonight in advance of this meeting, it's to give it to you so that you have plenty of time to review it before it gets to council.
Yeah, you guys probably won't see it until May at a council council meeting, because it'll go to planning board in April, right?
No, they'll go to planning board tomorrow.
Tomorrow night, okay.
So the tree part will come earlier, but
Okay.
development regulations are
So
coming.
you guys will have it in April.
Yeah, so our feedback, Jonathan, needs to go to you over to Terry, or to Terry for planning. Any feedback that we have on landscaping or anything like that.
Please, send it to both Terry and myself. So,
Okay.
yeah.
I would like to say that the brief conversation I've had with you and your group, you seem like you guys are doing a phenomenal job.
Thank you.
I mean, you're listening, you're asking questions, you seem like there's excitement in the things that we're excited about, and I just wanna say thank you.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure so far working with
Good.
the city. So thank you so much.
All right.
Sarah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys, let's move into new business. First order will be, request approval to reschedule the March 25th meeting to March 26th.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Number two, consideration to appoint a presiding officer to the charter, section 2.34.
We'll make the motion. This is for,
This is like, the backup
So-
to the mayor, since
Yeah.
the mayor pro tem is
So it's a
acting mayor.
presiding officer.
We-
is
Presiding
what it's
officer.
called.
When Mr. Exley kind of took over the role of mayor, we reached out to Ben Perkins, and he said, what you want to do is appoint a presiding officer. In the event that the mayor pro tem is absent from a meeting or can't perform the duties, that presiding officer then steps into that role. So,
I'll make a motion to appoint.
So, Mayor Pro Tem's
yeah, same, second.
I have a motion by Ms. Riley, second by Ms. Taylor, to approve Ms. Underwood as the presiding officer. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. We did add, number three, consideration to approve rate change for members at Rankin Golf Course. It was just something added. We have went back and looked at, probably 7 or 8 courses within Georgia, that are municipal courses. We are obviously, cheapest, rate that there is out there right now for muni courses. But this plan, reading through this plan, it kind of reduces, we had all types of discounts, for different businesses and things like that, and we've reduced all that down. So now we have just one set here for single, couple, family. I'll let you explain that.
Yeah, yes, sir, and I apologize, the arrows on your sheet reflect it, but for the audience, the blue is you'll pay, if a member would just pay, a cart fee at check-in for each person, and then they just pay $100 a month down the list by who they are. The green arrow is a monthly membership where the cart plan, where a cart from the city golf course is included. The pink plan is for a cart, it's called a cart plan that's included with the use of a personal cart for that monthly, so you can kind of see that difference. And then the pink is for, kind of essentially prorating the rest of the year. If we get a new member that comes in, they can come in at that rate through the end of the year, and then come January 2025, they go into that new rate. This is only for memberships. This has nothing to do with a single round that somebody off the street would come in and pay for. That amount is not changing at this time. And then there is some information down there, just to let everybody know that, premium periods throughout the year, it all didn't come through again. I apologize that, rates could increase for only individual rounds, but not for memberships. For example, you see high peak periods around the US Open, around the Masters, where people see, Rory McIlroy or Tiger Woods, have 4 eagles in a round. Oh man, I'm gonna go play golf the next day. So our course gets, high traffic, high use on those days. So there could be a slight increase in just the individual rounds those days, but it has nothing to do. The memberships will not see an increase during those times. So just ask that if we can, to go ahead and ask that to be approved and go ahead and go into effect with that.
And I think one of the biggest things was the fact that we have a lot of members coming back now.
Yes.
And as they come back, we just want to make sure that we don't do this a month from now and then have to do another increase. So
Right.
this puts it where everybody comes in is on the same plan.
Absolutely, yes, sir.
And that's not what the non-members.
Terry, you guys had 7 or 8 on the list waiting to sign up, that we were waiting for this to go into effect, that were, and we're seeing an influx as well of people coming in from Salem.
Yes,
They're
I saw
playing.
them there yesterday.
Yeah, playing, just a lot of people coming in with
And-
that.
And I think that, you know, once we get through, I know, Joe, they got some stuff going on to improve the course conditions, so maybe once the course gets into better shape, we can look at just non-member rates for rounds of golf. After that, I don't know that now is not the time to do that, as we're about to start fixing the course, I don't know. But those will be reviewed probably late summer.
Well, and we talked about that, even rec and everything that we do, not increasing rates on people up front. Let's put the energy into that facility, let's get it right, and then we can charge for it. Don't charge up front for an expectation, you know? Just my thoughts, but, anyway, I'll entertain a motion for, that rate.
Second.
I got a motion by Mr. Scott, a second by Mr. Blackwell to approve the rate change for members at the Lincoln Golf Course. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. And now I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Got a, motion by Mr.
Second.
Scott. I think I had a second from Ms. Riley.
Yes.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Have a great night.
We're gonna stay tuned, sorry.
I
Is
was gonna
7:30?
say,